Hangzhou was formerly named Wulin, and therefore Zheng music from the region was sometimes referred to as Wulin Zheng, Hangzheng, or Zhejiang Zheng. Despite the many names, this form of Zheng music was able to spread throughout the region. Wulin Zheng music has a long history with several poets, having made references to Wulin Zheng activities, musicians, or particular scenes in their poetry. The Tang Dynasty poet Bai Ziyi was a local officer in Hangzhou. He once wrote of four female musicians, Shang Linglong, Xie Hao, Chen Chong, and Shen Ping, to perform the Rainbow and Feather Garment Song on the bank of White Lake. The poem, which also goes by the name Rainbow and Feather Garment Song, gives us a glimpse into the musical activities of Qiantang at the time. Suddenly, I heard sad melody flowing across the lake. Who would of the heart listen to such sorrow? This line comes from the poem Jiangchengzi, which was written by Su Shi in 1073. Su Shi was a poet during the Northern Song period and wrote this line when visiting White Lake. In 1279, after the Southern Song dynasty faded away, imperial musicians began to move amongst the common folk, allowing the Zheng to gradually spread to the masses. Around the Ming and Qing dynasties, Zhejiang Zheng became more and more prevalent, as well as influenced by Hangzhou Tanhuang and Sizhou music. In 1924, the Hangzhou Chinese Music Association was established, with most of its members being Chinese music enthusiasts. At this time, the music style and pieces like Jiangnan Sizhou and the 13 Xiansuo pieces were often performed or rehearsed by Hangzhou Chinese Music Association. Wang Xunzhi was an outstanding musician and member of Hangzhou Chinese Music Association. He was talented at zheng and sanxian, playing sizhu and xiansuo music, and was even good at singing Kun opera. The Zhejiang Zheng music most commonly known today was added, composed, and published by Wang Xunzhi during his tenure at the Shanghai Conservatory of Music, beginning in 1956. Therefore, one might say that Zhejiang Zheng music arose in Hangzhou, but grew up in Shanghai and later spread to the whole of China. Wang Xunzhi was born in Hangzhou and was gifted at calligraphy, sculpture, and instruments such as sanxian, shun, and zheng. In 1921, Wang Xunzhi learned zheng from Jiang Yinchun, who was a sizhu music expert in Hangzhou. Jiang Yinchun taught Wang Xunzhi how to use double-handed playing techniques, as well as how to play pieces like General's Command, Lun Pao, Pu'an Mantra, The Moon is High, and The Vulture Fighting the Swan. Around 1925, Wang Xunzhi moved to Shanghai from Hangzhou and worked as conductor with Xiande Chinese Music Ensemble. At around the same time, Wang Xunzhi took the lofty mountain and running water, rainbow-colored garment, and embroidered shoes to Shanghai, where it found popularity. In 1936, Suzhou Jinyu Group held a recital in Shanghai, where Wang Xunzhi played a Xun solo piece called Morning for Yan Hui. In 1956, Wang Xunzhi started teaching zheng and sanxian at the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. At the same time, he began systematically sorting through and collecting works and techniques relating to Zhejiang Zheng music. There are many Zheng pieces that were collected and added by Wang Xunzhi. Some significant pieces include 33 Ban, Lantern and the Moon in Radiance, 四合如意, 云庆, The Moon is High, The Lofty Mountain and Running Water, and the innovative piece A Midnight Escape of Lin Chong. Wang Xunzhi took traditional Zhejiang Zheng music and improved upon its yaozhi and left-handed playing techniques. In 1961, Wang Xunzhi composed the first Zheng score to use staff notation for the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. These original Zheng scores included General's Command, 轮袍, Pu'an Mantra, The Moon is High, and the Vulture Fighting the Swan. Later that year, the first National Symposium on Educational Zheng teaching materials determined that these scores were worthy of being spread throughout China. During this time at Shanghai Conservatory of Music, Wang Xunzhi trained several important Zheng musicians who later produced significant and influential works that are still used today. These musicians include Sun Wenyan, Xiang Sihua, Fan Shang'e, Zhang Yan, and Wang Changyuan. While they followed traditional playing techniques and styles of Zhejiang Zheng music, they also pushed these techniques and style to new heights. Their compositions include Battling Against Typhoon, composed by Wang Changyuan in 1956, The Red Flag Canal to My Valley by Shen Liliang, Xiang Sihua, and Fan Shang'e in 1974, as well as Little Sisters of the Grassland, were composed by Liu Qichao and Zhang Yan in 1974. The 15th and 16th string zheng were foreigners to Zhejiang zheng and had weaker and smaller sound with limited instrumental range. In the early 1960s, and by the suggestion of Zheng masters Cao Zheng, Wang Xunzhi, and Guo Ying, the first S-shape Yueshan 21-string zheng was successfully crafted. The craftsmen were Miao Jingling and Xu Zhenggao, who worked at the Shanghai National Musical Instruments Factory. Innovations included an extended voice box, instrumental range, volume, and timbre, all of which improved the performance of the instrument and made better suited Zhejiang zheng music. By the end of the 1965, the S-shape Yueshan 21-string zheng had become the most popular variety within China. The most popular Zhejiang zheng pieces that we know today were all primarily reacted by Wang Xunzhi during his tenure at Shanghai Conservatory of Music. Zhejiang zheng music is closely related to Hangzhou Tanhuang, Jiangnan Sizhu, and pieces found within Xiansuo Beikao. Zhejiang zheng uses a red-handed playing technique named Sidian. This technique uses the pairing of middle finger and thumb, as well as the forefinger and thumb to pluck strings. It's often used as an accompaniment when singing Hangzhou Tanhuang. Zhejiang pieces borrowed musical names from styles such as Jiangnan Sizhu and Xiansuo Beikao. For example, the names Yunqing and Sihe Ruyi came from Jiangnan Sizhu, while the names General's Command and the Vulture Fighting the Swan originated from Xiansuo Beikao. Zhejiang zheng is dialectic in that it balances, but is soft and energetic. Elegant pieces such as The Lofty Mountain and Running Water can be compared with innovative and energetic pieces like A Midnight Escape of Lin Chong. The Zhejiang folk piece The Lofty Mountain and Running Water came from the Tonglu area and was originally played with the di. A version of The Lofty Mountain and Running Water was re-added by Wang Xunzhi and played by Xiang Sihua. This piece would later appear in the musical score 中国筝谱 in 1983. This version of the lofty mountain and running water imitates the qin's timbre at the beginning of the piece to portray the image of high mountain peaks. This is followed by a guazhou playing technique, which portrays the image of flowing water. This imagery of mountain peaks and flowing water conveys the human yearning for achievement. A Midnight Escape of Linchong was composed by Wang Xunzhi and Lu Xiutang in 1962. It was based on the Swordsman, A Midnight Escape, which originates from Kun opera. This piece utilizes playing techniques like 四点, 摇指, and 扫摇, all of which are played with the right hand. It uses left-handed trailed and sliding techniques that convey music tension when describing Lin Cheng's escape towards a cold white night.